Welcome to Kumiori, presented by your host, Renee Aite. Kumiori simply means arise, shine in Hebrew. Here at Kumiori, each episode of this podcast offers insights into the scriptures through a Hebraic lens, giving you a fresh perspective and nuggets of wisdom to inspire and guide your journey. If you are ready to dive in, be sure to subscribe and leave me a comment. Let's explore these timeless treasures together. It's my heartfelt prayer that these insights will be a blessing to you, bringing you joy and helping you grow in your faith. Today, I'd like to tell you a story from the Midrash. I would like to encourage everyone. It's finally the end of the year, and I don't know what your year has been like, but I would like to bring you this word of encouragement. You know, the Bible says that all things work together for good for them that love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. So whatever happened to you this year, it is good because you are called of the Lord, and it's all happened according to God's plan. So today I'd like to share a story from the Midrash with you. This podcast is entitled When Life's Events Shape Your Destiny. Whatever has happened to you all this year, God has a hand in it. So this story in the Midrash in our Bibles covers the book of Ruth and some of 1 Samuel, the book of 1 Samuel 16 and 17. So it's about King David, but it starts with a woman called Naomi. Naomi and her husband and 2 sons left Israel because of famine and went and lived in the land of Moab because there was food there and they could survive there. So while she was there, she lost her husband and her 2 sons. So later on, after a few years, she heard that God had visited Israel. So she wanted to go back to Israel, to live in Israel. And her daughters-in-law, Ruth and Orpah, wanted to go to Israel with her. And as we know the story, Naomi was trying to get them to go back and live with their family. Orpah left, but Ruth says, "No, Naomi, I'm going to go with you. Your people shall be my people, and your God will be my God." So Ruth came and lived in Israel. And as we know the story, she got married to Boaz. But then the Midrash has it. That same night, on the wedding night, Boaz died. So he got married. By the following morning, he was dead. So the people in Bethlehem at the time took Boaz's death very seriously, and they were arguing amongst themselves that, why would Boaz die? You know, he was single all his life. He was an elderly man, never married, got married to this foreigner, this Gentile woman, this Moabite, and then the next day he's dead. So they were arguing backwards and forwards about the law in the book of Deuteronomy that talks about, you shall not marry a Gentile or a Moabite, So the argument then was that, no, it's Israelite women who should not marry Moabites and, all sorts. So we know that Ruth gave birth to Obed, and then Obed gave birth to Jesse. So when Jesse, this is David's dad, grew up, his ancestry was a big problem to him because I guess he must have heard how his grandfather Boaz died the night when he married Ruth. And it was a very big worry to him and a very big burden, because he wanted to be sure of his ancestry, to make sure that, he was a true Israelite, he was a true Jew. So he took the matter to the elders of the court and asked them to deliberate the matter and that he would come for a judgment. So eventually he said to the court that, look, I am going to marry the slave girl in my house who is also a foreigner. And I want you guys to judge whether my marriage to this slave girl is kosher. Same thing that his grandfather did. And so the slave girl came to Jesse's wife and said to her, "Oh, madam, listen to what's going on. Your husband says he's going to marry me. Also, because of his ancestry, Jesse's ancestry, and he was so worried that he probably might not be a true Jew, he put his wife away. They were married, but they were separated. He wasn't, performing any marital rights with the woman or conjugal rights with him. Just put her away. They were separated. So he wanted to marry the slave girl. So the slave girl told the wife that, look, this is what your husband is saying to me. So the wedding happened. He married the slave girl. But on the wedding night, the slave girl arranged with her mistress that they would change places. So the married woman, the first wife of Jesse, she sneaked into the wedding bed chamber and slept with her husband. We've heard this story before. Leah and Rachel slept with her husband. Morning came, she sneaked out. The maid came into the bedchamber, and life went on as usual in the house. So 3 months after this incident, Netzaveh was pregnant. And as far as Jesse is concerned, he hasn't touched her, because she's separated from her. He's put her away. As far as he knows, on the wedding night, he slept with his maid, but that wasn't the case. And Netzaveh got pregnant and kept it silent, kept it quiet, became the shamed woman. As far as Jesse was concerned, she's had an affair. The pregnancy belongs to another man. And so she became a shamed woman. The whole of Bethlehem shamed her. Her sons and all of them were angry with her. They wanted to kill her. But Jesse said to them, look, don't touch her, don't kill her, don't let her blood be on your hands. Just let her give birth, and we will just mistreat both her and her bastard's child when the child is born. So eventually, Netzaveh gives birth to David and says that he was such a beautiful baby, red hair, green blue eyes, and surprisingly, he didn't look anything like any of the family. And so, Netzaveh was hoping that, maybe when she gives birth, the child would resemble Jesse or any of the brothers, and then her husband will know that, oh, he was the one responsible for this pregnancy. But it didn't happen that way. And so there was no way that any of them knew that this child was legitimate. And David, poor little David, had such a horrible life. Because David was an illegitimate baby, as a child growing up, he was relegated to the barn. He slept with the sheep. They didn't treat him as a brother. His brothers didn't treat him as one of them. And Psalm 69 is all of David's struggles that he penned down, he wrote down. in this chapter, talking about the things that he's been through. People just hated him. There's a verse in there that says people hated him without a cause, just because they thought his mother played an away game. Verse 4 in Psalm 69, those who hate me without a cause are more than the hairs on my head. So David would go to the field during the spring, summertime to look after the sheep in the wilderness. And in the winter, he would come home. And anytime he was home in the winter, it was hell for David because the townspeople treat him badly. If anything went missing in the town, they blamed him and they would ask him to repay. And the drunkards in the town would be singing his name. Can you imagine people swearing at you, using your name in songs in a derogatory way? So David went through so much pain. So the only place he found peace was when he was out there in the wilderness, looking after the sheep. So that's where he developed his love for God. That's where he developed his relationship with God, playing the harp, worshiping God. And so Netzaveh, David's mother, saw this kind of character developing in David, his love for God, his love for prayer and worship. And she was very happy that at least David had somewhere he could go to be away from all the horrible people in the town. But she, Netzaveh, she faced the people day in and day out. So one day, Samuel just comes into town and comes to Jesse and said to Jesse, "Meet me in the town hall. I've come to anoint one of your sons as king of Israel." So Jesse called all his sons and they went to the town hall. And of course, Samuel, trying to anoint Eliab because he was tall and handsome and, had the stature. And God says, "No, that's not him." Call the next one. "No, that's not him." Call the next one. So Samuel was confused. So this is where the Holy Spirit inspired Samuel. And Samuel said to Jesse, "Are these all the lads in your house?" If he had asked him, "Are these all your sons?" Jesse would have said, "Yes, these are all my sons," because he did not regard David as his son. So Samuel said to him, "Are these all the lads in your house?" And to which Jesse said, "There's one in the fields looking after the sheep." And Samuel says, "Send for him, and we shall wait till he comes." So they sent a messenger to go and call David from the fields. So he came home and he was like, "Oh, I'm not going to see Prophet Samuel looking and smelling like this." So he came, a quick shower, tried to find something decent to wear. So when his mother saw him at home, his mother Netzaveh said to him, "What are you doing here?" And David said, "A messenger came to call me that Samuel, they've all gathered in the town hall. They're waiting for me. And they're waiting to anoint one of Jesse's sons as king." So his mother said, "Well, I'm not going to let you go all by yourself. I'll come with you." So they all ran down to the town hall, and Netzaveh, being the shamed woman, she couldn't enter into the congregation or that little congregation going on there. So she was standing outside looking in. And so as soon as David turned up, God said to Samuel, "This is the one I have chosen, anoint him." So just there and then, the flask of oil in Samuel's hand started bubbling, and the seal broke, and Samuel anointed David as king. Just when the oil touched his reddish hair, the sunlight came through and it looked like a crown. The oil was just glistening on his head, and it looked like a crown was placed on David's head. So just then there was the sound of a woman crying outside, and the cry became louder and louder as the woman came in. So this woman coming in crying, the sound was louder and louder. So Nesebet and David have been vindicated. Now the whole town knows that David is Jesse's son, because Samuel came to say, God says to me to anoint one of your sons as king. So Nesebet gave it to the people, to Jesse, to her sons, for the bad treatment they had given to David. So there, just at that time, Nesebet, after she had given it to Jesse and the sons, she said to them, the stone that the builders rejected has become the chief cornerstone. To which her sons replied, this is the Lord's doing, and it's marvelous in our eyes. This is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. So I'd like to encourage you today, no matter what this year has been for you, God has a hand in everything that's happened to you. See, God raises the rejected. David's brothers rejected him. He was relegated to the fields. He was ignored. Even when Samuel came, his father just called his favorite sons. He was treated as illegitimate. Yet God chose him. See, the one people overlook is often the one God anoints. So when you are in isolation, that's the preparation place. God's preparation often looks like isolation. You know, in David's life, God was preparing him. He was in the wilderness. God was training him in obscurity. He wasn't seen. No one saw him when he was fighting the lion and the bear, when he was in danger, when he had to save the sheep from being taken as prey. He was lonely, no one to talk to, just God and the sheep. And being a shepherd was a job no one wanted. Yeah, the shepherd field was the place David was schooled for leadership. Just be encouraged, because your private victories will prepare you for your public assignment. Just like David, when he had victory over the lion and the bear, that was when he was able to have victory over Goliath in the public arena, on the national arena. God is going to take you from being a local champion to a national champion. See, your suffering shapes you for worship. You know, many of David's psalms were written because of the rejection that he suffered, the hardship he suffered, the fear and the loneliness. His pain became his praise. So let your pain become your praise. When you're going through a difficult time, let that be the time of praise for you, because your deepest worship is often born from your deepest wounds. Whatever wounds you've had this year, let that be a time of worship for you. And God sees beyond appearance. You know, David's brothers judged by appearance. They were judged by height, their strength, their ability. But God judges the heart. Heaven's criteria for choosing leaders is different from man's criteria. What feels like punishment is often God's providence. Not being sent to the fields looks like shame. Sometimes when things happen to you, you think, oh, this is so shameful. But that is God's providence. God has his hand in it. God saved David from the toxicity in his family when he was a little one, being treated as a bastard. And that put him in a position to meet Samuel, because they now had to send for him, just only him. And being in the wilderness taught him courage, how to save the little sheep, taught him how to fight the lion and the bear. And it also built a life of worship in him. So next time you suffer rejection, just see it as a redirection. God is just redirecting you to where you should be. And finally, God uses small responsibilities to test great kings. Saving little lambs from the lions seems very small. But the Midrash says God used these victories to show Israel that David will be able to protect his people. So how you handle little things determines how God promotes you. So in closing, this last podcast of the year, let this be an encouragement to you. No matter what you face this year, God is still using all those things to shape your destiny. So here from Kumiori, we're wishing you all the very best for the year. I pray that the following year will bring you success, great joy, and connect you more with God. Be blessed, and we will be in touch in 2026. God bless you. Thank you for listening. Hope you will come back soon and listen to some more things from the scriptures. Share, subscribe, and comment. Thank you.